Hey guys, welcome to the Pole Strong podcast. With me, your host, Becky Dunn. Delighted today to introduce you to the amazing Dan Rosen. Dan is the UK male pole champion, creator of polos, and most recently the Pole Destroyers. Dan, thank you for joining me.
No worries, thank you for having me.
So something that I've asked everyone, and I think it's a really nice segue in, is how have you found the last year?
Good and bad. Sorry, there's like a fluffy bum right there. That is Luna. I've got all my dogs in here at the same time, so if anyone sees something fluffy walk around, that is my dogs.
We love it. Cuteness.
Yeah, the last year has been such a roller coaster is probably the best way to describe it. So I have a studio as well, so my studio has taken a really big hit from COVID. My online stuff has thrived during COVID, so it's kind of like a negative and positive. I'd say mental health wise, it's probably been the worst year because it's such a... I'm one of these people that is very routine. I literally just used to go to my studio during the week to teach. I went away to teach on the weekends. That was just what I did for so many years. So when international travel stopped, I wouldn't say I had a breakdown, but I spent a few days like crying about it because I was so scared about what was going on. I was like, oh my God, like we're all gonna die, and then obviously when everything kind of settled a bit, I was like, right, okay, this is manageable. I'm not the only one in this situation. So at the beginning I really did not deal with it good, which is so funny because I think people thought I did, but that's kind of social media, you know. I'm such a different person in real life than what I am online. Like I'm very confident online, but actually if you meet me, I'm quite an anxious person.
Are you really?
Not like I wouldn't say I'm shy in any way whatsoever. Like I'm still very outgoing. But I'd say like I worry a lot. Like I worry about stuff that no one should really worry about. Like I will make scenario. I'm one of those people that I can make a scenario in my head and then believe it's going to happen. So obviously when the pandemic started, I had kind of built this scenario in my head that we would never get back to workshops and that I'd have to go and get like another like job. Like I was like, oh God, like what if we don't get people online? Because this was literally when it first started, so people were like, oh, maybe we're going to have to teach online. And literally, on the day that he announced we were being locked down, I went straight upstairs into my spare room. I got the spare pole out and I was like, right. Because I just had a spare pole that if I ever had a problem with a pole at the studio, I could use it at the studio. I was like, let's see if it fits at home. And it did, thank God. And that gave me some reassurance, but I had a few sleepless nights. It was just horrible, but
bless you. And like your whole world would have just cut, like for so many other people as well, by the way, you know, so everything just stopped. And I think for that, when Boris had made that announcement, I think everybody initially thought it was just going to be 2 weeks. I remember leaving the studio on that sort of Tuesday and being like, right, it's only going to be for a couple of weeks. We'll be back up and running shortly. It's not going to be too bad. And then, like you say, once. You know, I remember looking at buying a pole actually for my house, and my husband was like, "Don't buy one yet. It's only going to be a couple of weeks, and you'll be back in the studio." And thank God I did, because because it just completely changed the industry. Back in January, you started the conditioning challenge, which had a huge uptake. I did that too. I did it through January, and I think it was, when
Did you notice a difference?
Yes, my God, and it was so much fun with the live and knowing that people were doing it with you, and it got to 5 o'clock, and I was like, especially in January when it's dark, you feel a bit bleak anyway, and I was a bit like, ugh, I really can't be asked. There's so many people were doing it, and I think it was so good for the community, and again, just touching back on mental health, I bet it helped so many people.
Yeah, I really think it did. It was so popular. I mean, Pole Destroyers was a byproduct of 31 Days with Dan, because 31 Days with Dan was literally just a challenge that I put to myself as I want to do this for me. And it was so funny because obviously people, I think, always assume that I'm a calculated person, that I've done things on purpose, and normally I do. But in this occasion, it was just a one-off where I was like, oh, I want to lose a little bit of weight. I want to get my strength back. And I was like, I need to do something. And I was like, I'm going to make a challenge, because if I make a challenge, I'm then accountable. And because people will be relying on me, I'm more likely to do it. I'm just one of those people that if I know people are relying on me, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So it started 31 Days with Dan, and like 10,000 people later, we built this kind of big community of people who, you know, you don't really realize how important conditioning is until you actually start doing it. And you're like, oh my God, like this is how good I could actually be if I regularly train strength. And because we don't, like in pole classes, I'm a studio owner here, so this isn't even shade. I do it as well. In a pole class, like we have 1 hour. In that 1 hour, we've got to do a 10-minute warm up. We've got probably about 10 minutes. Maybe you could do it in a little bit less. You might be able to do it in about 8. It's a minimum of 2 songs normally. So you're looking at about 10 minutes for warm up, right? So then you've got like another sort of like 50 minutes where you've got to teach tricks, like spins. You might want to teach some flow. And somewhere in that time, you've got to do conditioning. So the way I do it is I'll do like a 10-minute warm up. I'll do like 15 minutes or so on maybe some static spins, because I just tend to find it warms our bodies up and stuff. Then I'll condition for like 10 minutes, and then the rest is tricks, but that's not very much time. So we don't get the time to actually condition our bodies to a level where we can really see some difference.
Yeah.
And that challenge literally just proved that, because we did like before and after videos. I don't know whether you'd done one, but like we did before and after, and the crazy results were just like, whoa. And that's when I kind of thought there's something here with this. And lots of people I think thought the same, because loads of them were like, oh, are we going to carry this on? So I was like, okay, well, I'll try it for February. So I did fuck it up February, and we did February. And yeah, it was so popular. So many people did it. And I was like, wow, okay. So then I was like, I'm going to create a platform, because I tell you what, it was great, and I had a great time doing it, but oh my God, it was a nightmare trying to like manage getting everybody the like class videos and stuff.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
A platform to upload it all to. So it was just like, oh, nightmare. But yeah, it was amazing, and I think we've really discovered and like created this amazing community. So I'm grateful to the pandemic for that, because without the pandemic, I would never have ddone that. I used to always be, I don't know about you, but I was always really anti online. And when I first started teaching online, I fucking hated it, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah. I didn't like it. I just felt I missed being able to touch people. I know that sounds stupid, but I'm quite a hands-on teacher. So if someone wants to spot, I will spot them quite heavy. So I missed that, and I was like, oh, this sucks. And then after a while, I was like, oh, okay, well, I can kind of amend it to do this. And then I was like, oh, this is actually so fun. I actually really enjoy it. Connecting with people who wouldn't normally be able to connect with me, you know, people who live in America, Canada. It's amazing. That's what I love about it. It's just cool to be able to connect with so many different people now.
Yeah, and I think that's it, and it's the benefit of it as well. And I was actually having this conversation. I spoke to Jade last week, Bensalem. Yeah, and we were having exactly the same conversation about conditioning. You know, when you have an hour, you need to condition your students because you want them to improve, and it's part and parcel of training, isn't it? But then you need to make it fun. You want people to come back, so you can't make it too like conditioning heavy unless you have those conditioning classes. But it's also, you want people to come away with I really want someone to come away with a nice video or a nice picture, or to have felt like they've achieved something and learned something new. And it's trying to find that divide, isn't it, and being able to split everything up. So how did you
but you know what I think as well, like it's funny you say that, because this whole like people have this expectation to leave a class with a photo or a video.
Yes.
When did that become a thing? Like that was never a thing. When I first started pole dancing, we never even used to take photos. People always ask me, oh, what was your first pole photo? I'm like, well, the first pole photo I ever took was of a handspring, because I didn't take anything before that. Like all of the stuff that I did before, whereas now my beginners are taking videos of their chair spins. I never did shit like that. No. And it's just the dynamic has changed so much. And that's all because of social media, I think, which is fair enough.
Definitely. I was about to say that it's that need and desire to want to post something on social media. I think that's where it's come from.
I think it also stems back for many people to like insecurities of wanting to have attention from strangers and stuff. It's really like, I remember listening to a few like posts and stuff on Instagram about like the psychology behind why people post like that. And, you know, like for me, I sometimes will go without posting. I'll be like, oh, I haven't posted. And it's because I'm like, well, this is my business. So I really do need to post. But I don't think if I didn't rely on social media for my business that I would post as much. Like, I'm not the type that I think would be posting selfies all the time. Do you know what I mean? But then I'm married. Like, I'm married. I feel like things like that are for people who are single, looking to mingle. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just weird. I think social media has just made such a difference to not only our industry but the world. Really, it's really made it just a bit different, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and then also what happens is you start comparing. So
Yeah.
one thing that I found in particular, and a bit of a blessing in disguise, a bit of both really, is that sometimes I found Instagram, when I started out as an instructor, I found Instagram super helpful to help me with lesson planning. You know, I would look at what other sort of studios were teaching their beginners, and I would see, and I would think, okay, cool, that's a really nice move. Hadn't thought about doing that. And then in the same breath, I would look at some stuff and be like, oh my God, that's not beginner. That's not, that shouldn't be taught to a beginner. And then other beginners see stuff like that with the hashtags that are used and stuff like that. And then I think people compare and be like, well, why can't I do that? I've been polling for X, Y, Z. And it's that whole comparison piece coming in, isn't it? Of, you know.
Yeah, but you could do that on anything, couldn't you? Like,
yeah.
I think like with pole especially, what you know, if you go to Russia and ask them to teach you a beginners class, it would be very, very different to what a UK beginners class would be.
Yeah.
But that just is different styles of training. You know, the people come to my advanced classes, and so now I have a specific like questions I have to ask first, because what I consider advanced and what other people consider advanced are just two completely different worlds.
I know.
It's so funny. Like, yeah. So I always have to really check, because, you know, some people, there was a time where Superman was advanced, like in that never used to be intermediate. There was a time where that was in advanced categories. Like we had to, like in competitions and stuff, if someone did in a Superman, that was like, whoa, that's so cool. And like handspring, like true grip handspring, like hardly anyone was doing that back when I first started. So it makes me feel old saying stuff like that, because I know that now everyone can do a true grip handspring maybe, but you know, back then. And so I still have some, like when I'm teaching and when I'm like doing stuff, I still think to myself, like, you know, handsprings, you know, they're still quite an advanced move, but actually, yeah, they're not as advanced as you think they are anymore. You'll be surprised. Like, it's funny, just different
and
people.
this is why I was looking when, like I said, back when I started teaching like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was already evolving, and it already does, like you say, what sits in intermediate, what sits in beginner now, and what sits in advanced, it varies from studio to studio. But then that's the beauty of learning from so many different people and having the exposure, isn't it? Is I suppose you can see, you know, and have a little look. So when you did that January challenge, how did that really help you as well? Because I know that was the idea behind it, but you know, you said
it was crazy, like, because, and again, probably actually I maybe had gone a little bit too far with it, because it was such an extreme difference. Because like Christmas season for me is very family orientated, and I spend as much time as I can with family, and I eat myself to death. Like,
who doesn't? Amen.
So I'd gained a lot of weight anyway, so I knew I was going to drop a lot of weight, but I did drop a lot of weight, probably a little bit too much. So I probably went a bit too heavy, maybe on diet side. So yeah, but it was great. Like my strength had improved, and like I lost a lot of weight. I was feeling better about myself. So yeah, it was great. So I liked in that sense. And it was good for me, because I felt like having that community made me feel a little bit less alone, because that's the problem with the pandemic, is that it has started to make me feel like I don't see anyone. Like, you know, you don't see people as much, and it's quite lonely. And actually, I think that's one thing that everyone's noticed about the pandemic, is actually it's quite a lonely time for many people.
Yeah, and I actually, when there was those, you know, we had those really small pockets of times where the studios reopened again. So we had a really small time from like July to September, or July to October, didn't we? And I remember thinking then, like, if I didn't have this, if I didn't see my students, then because lockdown was still quite funny, wasn't it, in terms of meeting up and meeting people, you still couldn't really do much. So if I didn't have that and have that interaction, I think I would have felt really, really lonely.
Yeah, I think that's why we're lucky with like Pole, because obviously we build communities within our like studios and stuff. So then people feel less alone, and they feel like they've got people they can kind of talk to and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, Yeah, it's been a funny old year, hey.
It really, really has. But it seems like we're coming out of it. And I think the pole industry, and even whatever happens, the pole industry has adapted so quickly. And being able to, like for you, like you said, you've now got Pole Destroyers, a huge, huge platform. Like, it's been a benefit for so many people, and so many people got to train with their idols or just take different classes. And yeah,
I got so lucky with it because as well, like my husband got made redundant literally in New Year's. So like just before New Year's Eve, he'd been like, that was his last day at work.
What, this year? Or like just last year, just gone, moving into this year? Yeah.
Yes, moving into this year. So he's only just got another job. So
oh wow.
So yeah, it was just like months and months. So the income from Pole Destroyers like saved us completely, because otherwise, like, I mean, we probably would have been fine. We probably would have been fine, but it's just one of those things, like, well, thank God for that. I think someone's here to pick up the dogs. Hold on.
No worries.
Come on. Nutters. But yeah, so thank God, because it kind of came along at the right time. And I think it comes down to that whole thing of like, everything happens for a reason. And I think the Pole Destroyers came along at the right time, and it came along for that reason, was to, be able to help out with everything that was going on, and with Mitch, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it kind of worked out quite well in the end.
Yeah, that's great. Like, just going back to your point, whether people think it was calculated or not, let's strip it all back. There was a space in the market for that, and you just took it. So it happened, and someone needed to do it. It was a great time. So why not?
Yeah, it was a great time to do it, especially for me. Like, I needed to do it at that time, and actually, it just happened to be that like with anything fitness, January is a great time to do it, because people want to be motivated in January. So January was always going to be a good time to do it. But yeah, it's funny though, because I got such great feedback from it. It was such a great experience. But with everything, you always receive negativity. There's always someone who's just got a little. Everyone wants to piss on your parade sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's always someone that sees your success and wants to, just like piss all over it. But it's and it's taken a long time to try and like train myself to not allow that negativity in.
Yeah,
sometimes it's hard though, hey. You're just like, oh.
But you've got such a big following on Instagram as well. How do you, because we touched on this a little bit with you saying about the need for posting and stuff, do you find that to be quite overwhelming? Like, do you feel actually you manage quite a lot of pages now?
So that I find overwhelming. So
yes.
No, I don't. To make a post does not take much effort for me at all, because I mean, when you realistically think about it, what are you looking at? 5 minutes to make one post? It's the content creation that is probably the most time consuming. Obviously, like making sure I've got training time in the studio to actually film content, making sure that I'm going on and like making memes and stuff. And like, so for example, like with the Polos page, people just assume like it will be so easy to run that page, but out of 100 videos that I'll go through, maybe only 10 of them will be suitable. So I'm having to go through, save. So you have to obviously watch it. So 20 seconds per fail minimum, really.
They are hilarious though. You must have so much fun.
Watch it and you're like, oh, it's not good enough. Next. And you move into going through all these videos. Sometimes I'll literally take a good 3 or 4 hours out of my day where I just literally sit down. I have to save a chunk load of them, because Instagram as well does this really annoying thing that your request folder, you can only go 4 weeks back. So if someone sent you a message into your request folder older than 4 weeks ago, it disappears. You just don't ever see it again. Yeah. And well, I tell you what, if anyone knows a way to look further back, please let me know, because I can't work out how to do it. But every time that I go back, and I'll literally just scroll. So I'll go down to the 4 weeks and I'll work my way up. Because I don't get to do it very often, because obviously I'm teaching, I teach online, I teach my studio, we've got Polos merchandise that we sell, so that we're posting those out. So I'm just a busy person. I like to keep myself busy. So the memes and the sort of like the fails are kind of like, they do take a big chunk of my time, so I don't always get to Like I probably haven't saved any fails in like probably about a week now. So now I need to go back in and try and save some before it gets to that 4-week period and they start to disappear again. So, and I'll get, sometimes people message me like, hey, did you get this? And I'll be like, oh, thank you for sending, because it must have disappeared. So then I'll save it. But yeah. Oh,
It is a
first
lot
world
though,
problems.
isn't it? Yeah, this is true. But we need that Polos page because it is too good. I feel like we all need it because, you know, there's not, sometimes there's, it's actually, no, saying that, since you've started it, I think it's encouraged more people to post their fails.
Yeah, oh, 100%. But, and you could even say that maybe it's gotten a bit too silly to the point where I think people, some of them look a little bit, what's the word? like they've done it on purpose.
Yeah,
They wanted to be featured, maybe.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look authentic, and I don't like that. I'm like, no, don't hurt yourself on purpose. Like, if it happens, it happens. And I don't actually share videos where people hurt themselves. So if they've actually hurt themselves, I'm not going to share it anyway. Like, I've seen some where people have like, it doesn't look good. Like it doesn't look funny. Like it has to be funny. Like people falling out of a move is funny. You know, if they fall out, they're like, oh, damn it. You know, and it's just like, it's messy and awkward. But if people land on their head and seriously injure themselves, it doesn't get featured. And some of the stuff that gets sent is horrendous as well. Ooh. And I've got like, you know, I've probably in my time had like over a handful, I'd say. Do you know what I mean? Like that have been like bad. And I've been, I'm sorry, I can't share.
I can't do it.
Yeah, it's just too. And as well, not only would it be traumatic for people to watch, people don't come for them, they come for me because they're like, why did you share that? So yeah, it's just you know, yeah, it's a great page. But again, like with everything, it's had so much success that it also has its haters as well. So many people are just determined not to like it purely because of how successful it's been. So funny. People are hilarious. Like sometimes I'm just like, what is wrong with people? Like, people can be so funny, can't they? Just weird.
It's jealousy though, isn't it? That sort of seems to be where it stemmed from the most. But you've just got to ride it out, haven't you? You know, this. But it must be difficult when you're getting it from different angles of, you know, what that might look like. But you know, you just got.
Someone said to me once, they were like, Mother Teresa could be on social media and she would have haters. Like she would have her haters too. And I'm just like, you're so right. Like there's so many times that I've seen people online who are the nicest people, and they'll still have some idiot who comes onto their page and has to say something nasty. And it's just like, it's just social media for you, behind fake profiles and stuff. Yeah. I had a fake profile message me once when I was doing that. Do you remember when I was doing the Susan videos? I haven't done those.
Yeah.
So when I was doing the Susan videos, I had a message from a page called Concerned Pole Dancer or something like that, Concerned Polar, saying, oh, you know, we feel like it's going too far and, you know, Susan is too much kind of thing. I was like,
Susan was great. The birth of Susan was amazing.
But the thing is, it's one of those things, like, why would you take the time out of your day to message someone to be like, hey, like, you know, I don't like this. Just press the unfollow button and get on with your day. Like, why? I wouldn't go out of my way to make a fake profile and message someone. That would have taken them like a bit of time. Why? Get a life. Just move on. Just move on. Like, I wish people could understand how silly it looks. Like when people comment negativity on people's page, I wish they could understand how stupid it looks. Because literally, I just cringe when I see people's stuff. I'm just like, oh. Like people have come onto my page before and be like, oh, I don't like this, I'm unfollowing. And I'm just like,
okay, great.
You literally look ridiculous. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, you're totally right. And also I suppose you just got to take that sort of stuff with a pinch of salt, haven't you? Because I always think like, what it would never even cross my mind if I see something on social media. So I come off Facebook like 4 years ago because I didn't like what was being shown to me like through Facebook, and I was like, I felt like it was a really negative place, and I just come off altogether. Instead of who like these keyboard warriors, you know, like the people that just, you know, get behind posts and start, you know, dropping negativity. And I'm like, how's that even, you know, why are you doing that?
I made a post on this today on Instagram, actually. Like I said to you before, I suffer quite badly with anxiety. I like to make situations in my head that are just never going to happen, and it's gone worse over the years. And I definitely think that social media has had a contribution to that. And I made a post today, and it's very much like you are what you eat. What you consume on social media is how your day is going to go. So
Yeah.
if you're following pages that just spew negativity, or it's very like just too intense for you, like, you know, they might even be doing something good, but it could just be too negatively put across, you know, like there are activists that I've followed before who are fighting actually for a very good cause, and I really want to support them, but the way that they go about doing some things don't sit right with me. So,
Yeah.
and because of that, I end up finding that they it just drags me down, just drags my vibe down, and I just hate that. So it's just a bit like, yeah, I just feel like you need to go online and just unfollow pages like that. And do you know
Definitely.
what, as well, I think so many people have this fear of, oh, if I unfollow them, what if they notice? Who gives a
So
shit if they
yeah.
notice? Who cares? Like, one, like if you've got these apps where, like, please tell me you don't have them. Like,
No,
you
I
have
know
these
what you're gonna
apps where it
say. I
tells
know,
you.
yeah. How
Oh my, I couldn't
ridiculous.
do that. Do you know what? I remember I had a friend, I won't say their name just in case I get embarrassed, but I had a friend who's a pole dancer as well who downloaded it. And when they realized who wasn't following them and stuff, this was years ago, actually. I don't know if they've still got the app, but yeah, it was a long, long time ago. And I remember them saying, like, oh, they were like, Bendy Kate doesn't follow me. And this was someone who at the time was quite friendly with her. And it was just like, well, she doesn't need to follow you. Like, what if she,
Yeah.
maybe she just, this might not be anything personal. It might not be that she hates you. It might just be that she maybe wants to keep her list quite limited. But people take it personally, and I do too. So I'm not trying to say that I don't, because I do too, but that's why I don't look. I don't look, so I don't want to know. I try not to look because I'm just like, if they don't, if my content isn't of interest to them, then that's fine. You know, it
What a
doesn't bother me.
what a ridiculous app though that is. I know I've heard about it,
I don't know
but
what it's called.
no, I
I don't even
don't.
want to look for it. Do you know what? Because that for me, I know I'm the type of person that I'd fall down a rabbit hole with that, and I'd be like, oh, why have they unfollowed me? Maybe they hate me. Do you know what I mean? Like, it would be no good for me at all. It's not going to be good for anyone. It can't be good for anybody. Like, it doesn't matter how confident you are.
No,
Like, you're going to feel
you're
shit, aren't
totally,
you?
yeah, you're totally right. I remember there was a video that went a video of mine that went viral back in lockdown. It's so stupid. All it is, I'm in my lounge and I'm fully dressed, just doing pull-ups on a video, and it went mad for some reason. And I had a meme created, and it was all really funny. But looking at the comments on the meme page, I remember seeing some that was like, "This is fake." Like some negative comments, and I remember going to type something back, getting caught up in it, and then I was like,
Mm,
oh my god, how stupid. This is not what I do. Like,
yeah,
delete, like. And
I
it's
do that all
really
the time.
so
So
easy, isn't it, to get caught up.
I used to always get caught up. I used to comment. So when I see negative stuff and I'm like, that is bullshit or whatever, I'd go on and like comment back. Now I write stuff and I look at it and I'm like, I just think, what am I going to gain from it? Yes, my point
Yeah.
is valid. Yes, they are being a dick or whatever, or their post is ridiculous. But is what of what value is my comment going to add? And that's what I always think now. I'm just like, is it going to cause an argument? Most likely, because they obviously don't agree with what I'm going to say. So I just think I'm just going to unfollow them. So I just unfollow them. It's so much easier to just
It
unfollow someone, and
is.
actually, it makes me feel better to do it that way. I'd rather, and sometimes as well, like if it's just a one-off, you know, I'm not even going to unfollow them. I'm just going to ignore that post and just hope that they'll go back to, because I had a lot of people who were conspiracy theory posts and stuff, you know,
Yes.
and some people, yeah, believe what you want to believe. By the way, I'm not saying I believe or don't believe that. I'm just one of these people that I'm just like, do you know what? I only have one life, so if a vaccination is going to kill me, then freaking let it end me now. Do you know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah,
if it's
so
going to
many
kill
opinions.
me, it may as well, because all of my friends and family have been vaccinated. So, and you know, when you see posts of people posting these conspiracy theories and stuff, I just like, I don't really agree with what you're saying. And I'm just like, but do you know what? Everyone's entitled to their opinions. So I just get my finger and I just scroll. And that's so
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah,
You
it's so
don't
much
realize
better.
how actually easy it is to just ignore and just not engage. But there used to be a time when I did engage, and I would cause uproars because I was so annoyed at something. I just think with age, I've just gotten to a point where I can't be bothered.
No, I actually had someone comment on a post. I don't really get much negativity on my post that often, but you do, obviously everybody's going to get something now and then. And I
Sure.
remember like it was about a month ago, maybe a bit longer, someone commented on my Instagram post. I have no idea who they are, by the way, calling me a slum. I've never even heard of I've
Oh,
never even
what?
a slum. So I'd never even heard of this. And I remember texting my husband, Rob, at the time, being like, Robert, what does this mean? Like, what is a slum? I can't find it
What is a
anywhere.
slum?
And he had found it on the Urban Dictionary. I couldn't find it, but it was basically calling me a slum slut. I never even heard of this.
What is a slum slut?
I have no idea. But what I did, I deleted it. I mean,
Yeah.
I still reference it all the time because I love it. I mean, I've never even heard of a slum slut. But anyway, it's quite funny. But you just delete it. You just get rid.
This is the thing. Like, I think as well, just see, and this is a funny subject as well. Oh God, I could talk about shit like this all day. So that is a funny subject as well. Deleting comments off of your social media, right? And I've seen before where people will be annoyed, like someone will be annoyed at something, and then they'll go and get their whole community to go to this page and comment. So then that person will just delete all their comments. And they'll be like, why are you silencing us? Why are you silencing our voices? Well, the difference is that you're not being silenced. It's like that, you know, Oprah Winfrey was just like, were you silent or were you silenced?
Yes.
So it's like, you know, being silenced is not having your comments deleted on social media. Come on, like no one is stopping that person from going to their page and posting and saying, oh, Dan Rosen is an asshole because he, you know, thinks that Mean Girls is the best movie in the world, which it is. And if anyone disagrees with that, then they are obviously a cunt.
Great film.
So it's just like, so if they come on my page and say, oh, Mean Girls isn't the best movie ever, I'm just going to delete it because I don't agree with that and I don't appreciate that negativity on my post. This is obviously just an example. But I'm not silencing that person. I'm just telling them that, you know, this is my page. This is my house. I'm not going to let someone I wouldn't let someone walk into my house off the street and talk shit about me.
No,
so
absolutely
I'm going to remove
not.
them.
Yeah,
but I'm
totally
not stopping them from going to their house and posting about me. So I hate when people use that expression like, oh, why are you silencing our voices? You know, because we don't like this. Why are you silencing us? No, that's not what, like, go and Google what silencing means. Like having someone politically silence you or threaten you, blackmail you in silence, that's different. So, but people get funny on the internet, don't they? And this is the thing, like, just block people from your space. If someone starts with that shit, block button. I've blocked so many people over the years, like, and there's nothing wrong with it. You just don't want that person in your space. The same way that you wouldn't invite someone to come to your house party, you know.
You're totally
and if
right.
that person kept trying to come to your house party, you would get the police on them, wouldn't you? You'd get the police on them and get a restraining order. My block is a restraining order to get them out of my space. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
think totally.
It's so important that we do that, because if we don't, your mental health will take a dive, because all these negative comments that keep coming, what's it going to do? It's only going to make you feel shit about yourself, isn't it? So just get rid of them.
Definitely, 100%. Big topic. I completely agree, and I think it's just taking the action to be like, fuck this. You know, you don't dictate what this page is about. Letting negativity in, you know, getting into my headspace is just it's just shutting it down. But something that I've seen that you do a lot, and I'm quite interested to chat on because I know you're off to the gym in a minute. Is your cross training. So you've been gymming for quite a while, right?
Well, obviously, when the pandemic happened, the gyms were closed. So I was just like spinning at home. So pre-pandemic I was going to the gym a lot. I was actually in like pretty decent shape pre-pandemic. And then when the pandemic happened, we bought a Peloton. Have you heard of Peloton? Yeah, so we bought Peloton for home. They're great, by the way. If anyone just wants to do a bit of cardio or whatever from home, very convenient. The classes are great. So we got a Peloton, but I enjoy doing weights because pole, especially for men, is very uneven. We do a lot on our back, but not really much pushing. So we don't build out our chest very much. And also our legs. So it's not as intense on your legs as what obviously it would be if you actually did a leg session. So the reason I go to the gym is to try and even my body out, but it's also my space that I go to be able to do any physiotherapy that I'm working on. So so during the pandemic, when we opened the first time, I started to go to CrossFit. Now I've got a bit of a weak back anyway, so I was a little bit unsure whether my back would like it, but it managed okay. And then just all of a sudden I'd done, I think it's called a snatch, you know, where you sort of like throw the weight above your head and catch it. Well, my back didn't like that. Oh. My back did not like that. Literally to the point I couldn't even feel my right leg. So the nerve had been compacted so much that it just like totally pretty much shut off my right leg. It was bad. I had an injection into my back in the end. Now having physiotherapy, it's starting to get on its way. So I go to the gym and I do my physiotherapy exercises at the gym, and I'll do just feel like an all over body workout, because pole can be very one-sided. And this is why the conditioning classes are great as well, because it gives us an opportunity to work on both sides with these conditioning exercises. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's just good to sort of go to the gym and work something that's a little bit different. We work our bodies so differently at the gym than what we do on the pole. So it's, I just do it because, I don't know, I just do it because I do now. I think it used to just be like, I wanted to stay in shape, but now I don't even have so much of, I used to have this really toxic sort of view that I wanted to always be skinny and wanted to have abs. And nowadays I'm like, do you know what? I think so long as you're happy within yourself, and I don't consider myself overweight. You know, it doesn't stop me from doing anything on the pole. So no. I'm pretty happy. Like I could always lose a little bit of weight, but I used to be like really bad about it. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm disgusted with myself. And now I'm like, I can't believe I had that toxic mentality on weight and stuff. Whereas now I'm learning to love myself a lot more. And now
it takes time though, doesn't it? It takes time.
Yeah, it does. I wouldn't say I'm 100% there. You know, I see people who have such body confidence, and I love that. You know, and big girls who have lots of body confidence do, and I think that's so great. And I think and over the years, especially within our industry, as you'll know, we try to be very body positive. And I think I'm starting to become more body positive than myself. It's so funny because obviously I allow anyone of any shape and size to come to my classes, and I'm very body positive in my classes. And I just thought to myself, I was like, I can't be like that, but then be harsh on myself.
Practice what you preach.
It's got to, practice what you fucking preach, like 100%. And so now I feel like I do.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I think everyone can relate to some form of struggling, you know, and I think it took me years, and it's still, if you still have some little niggle in your mind sometimes. Like sometimes I'll see a video and I'll be like, oh, I can't post that. That's like, it's look at the rolls, and I'm like, how fucking stupid! Like you're flipping off the pole. God. Do you know what I mean?
It was so funny. I literally so my friend Jess took a photo of me the other day. And I'm in such a squashed up position. I know whatever I must have been able to count 8 rolls on my tummy. It rolled up in such small little rolls. And we literally, so before that would have made me mortified. I would have been like, oh my God, I can't post that. Now I'm like, fuck it. Like who gives a shit? It's skin. Like I have skin. I've got a bit of fat there. Yeah, of course it's going to roll up. Fuck it. Yeah. Who cares?
And it's more about seeing your body.
We just laughed it off.
Yeah. And it's more about seeing your body for what you can do. Just take a step back and look at what you've just done. Like that's pretty amazing, you know. And I think that having that shift is a lot, and you need to have good people around you too. I don't think I would be in the mentally with eating and stuff like that, and I don't think I would be in the place if I didn't have my husband. So I think you've got to have people around you as well that can you know, reassure you that actually you're just being a dick.
But again, like talking about that, like it's that whole social media thing, like we don't appreciate what we can do with our bodies. And the reason why is because we just compare ourselves constantly to all these amazing people that we see from around the world online. So you know, it's so easy to be like, you know, back when, you know, when I first started pole and stuff, I remember how cool I thought inverting and leg hangs were, because I was like, I don't know anyone who can do this. And obviously over the years, social media's come along and I'm like, wow, that leg hang ain't so cool, hey, because everyone can do that. Because now I can see what everyone from around the world can do. And I think that's the thing, like, we don't appreciate that actually the average person walking down the street next to us, they can't do that. They can't go upside down. Like, so we need to praise ourselves more for the crazy stuff that we can actually do with our bodies. I don't think we do it enough.
No, definitely. And it's that shift as well, isn't it? Then you actually start forgetting about what you look like, and more of a, well, this is what I can do. So yeah, I think it's a huge shift. So with training and stuff and diet and supplements and all of that sort of jazz, are you quite conscious on your diet? Do you take any supplements?
I used to be. Do you know what? If the pandemic, so when the pandemic happened, right, this is how it kind of started. When the pandemic happened, so before that we were quite strict. We have like meals prepped and stuff. When the pandemic happened, we basically, because they'd said it, oh, you know, just a couple of weeks to curve, you know, the numbers, whatever. And we're like, okay, you know, just flatten the curve. No worries. Let's have a couple of weeks off our diet. Let's treat this as like a little holiday.
Downtime, yeah.
Well, 6 months later, and we're still eating what the hell we want. And we're like, wow, okay, we maybe need to think about actually, you know, going back to what we were eating, you know, but I would say that I eat moderately during the week and I enjoy myself on the weekend. That's the way I work. I'm going to go out, if I go and see my friends on the weekend, we're going to have some dessert and I'm going to freaking enjoy it. Like, I don't hold myself back from much. I do have to hold myself back a little bit because obviously things can get out of control. I'm definitely what I would class as an overeater. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't do any of the fun stuff. So my enjoyment comes from eating. And that sounds terrible, but I just love going out instead of going for a night out, right, I'm getting pissed, I much would rather just go for a nice meal with friends.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm just at that age maybe where I'm just like, oh, going out at 9 p.m, no. I've got to be in bed in a couple of hours, honey. Like, no way.
I know.
Not gonna happen. So for me, it's about going out and enjoying nice meals. So on the weekends, I'll enjoy myself. During the week, I tend to be better. I would say at the moment, I'm slowly trying to get back to where I was. Like, I just think, you know, the pandemic had just totally screwed me and my husband over, because we, like, when he lost his job and stuff, we were just like totally down about that. And then loads of other little things just in my life, personal life, whatever, have just made us sort of just like throw our diets out the window. But generally though, and what I'm trying to get back to is just sort of like the kind of 3 meals a day, regular snacking. I find that that's something that really helps me with sort of making sure that I maintain my weight, is that I don't have massive meals. So I don't have massive breakfast, massive lunch, massive dinner. I'll kind of have like like breakfast. This is my breakfast at the moment. It's literally just like a protein shake with oats and stuff in it.
That's exactly what I have every day. I love it.
I'm not an eater in the mornings. I don't like, which is weird because I don't like eating in the morning, but like on the odd occasion I could have like a, you know, vegetarian breakfast or like English breakfast kind of thing, you know? But generally I don't like to eat in the morning, and then for sort of like I'll have like my lunch, and then I'll have like a little snack pre-teaching my classes, then post my classes I'll have dinner, and then before bed we'll have like because I get a bit of a sweet tooth. I do have
don't we all?
But, so we'll have like we've got like these cute little protein mug cakes or whatever that are like just lower calories, whatever, but it just makes me feel like I'm having something a little bit sweet. I maybe just have one of those pre-bedtime, so I've had some protein before bed. That's kind of really my diet.
So quite balanced.
Drink as much water as possible. Yeah, it's fairly balanced.
Yeah,
I would say that it's just mainly these sweets and stuff that catches me out.
It's just finding, like you say, it's finding those alternatives, isn't it? Like for you, like those protein, I know exactly what you're talking about with those mug cakes. It's like tricking the mind a little bit, isn't it, to like ticking off that sweet treat box, but actually it's not as bad as, you know, as maybe like
think it would be.
Yeah, definitely. So
but you know what, now I feel like I'm at a stage where if I want some sweets, I will just have some sweets.
I totally agree. Yeah,
it's like I'm better with it now. Like I just say I'm better with it now. But yeah.
yeah, it's knowing like for me now it would be in moderation. So like it would,
Yeah.
you know, just knowing, let's say you've got a bag of sweets at home, which I have done before, it like left over from the weekend if I've got a big pick a mix or something like that, because like sweets for me are like is my biggest downfall. I love sweets. You know, like as you roll into the week, like you can't finish off the bag, like maybe have a couple in the evening, and like knowing when to stop, I think is like
Yeah,
key,
that's the
isn't it?
hard part. It is hard.
So I wanted to touch a little bit on your flexibility, sorry, and flexi training, and because you are very flexible. So did that come quite
Mainly in my legs. Like I wouldn't say I used to be so much more flexible, but yeah, thank you. I'm shit at taking compliments, by the way. But yeah, yeah, flexibility training, like I would say that's gone quite downhill because of my back. But sorry, finish your question. You were asking about it.
Yeah, I was just asking more so around did it come quite naturally to you? Did you have to train it a lot? You know, do you still work it into your training now? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, no, so it definitely does not come naturally. So when I first started pole, I couldn't do a split on either side, but I was pretty close. I was probably about, I don't know, like 8 inches away from the floor on my right side. So that was the first side that I trained, was my right side. And then I got down my right side, and then I started training my left side, and I got down my left side. But yeah, I used to train a lot of back bending stuff as well, but especially since injuring my back, that's been put on hold. So I'm hoping that I can go back to back bending soon. But yeah, no, it didn't come naturally at all. I spent a lot of my earlier career like being trained by flexi teachers, like contortion trainers and stuff. There was a contortionist who used to come and do a show in London called Jonathan Nosan. I learned a lot from him.
That's cool.
Yeah, and just like lots of like other just like workshops or whatever. I've been to workshops, people have taught flexi, and yeah, I just sort of take little bits and apply it to my training. And yeah, I try to make sure now, because of my back, I've got to be really careful because I don't want to irritate it while it's healing.
It's not worth it, is it either? Like it's not worth doing anything to put you out and then you have to have a longer recovery. That's the worst part, isn't it? Like you just don't want to do anything like that.
I'll train my splits like once a week at the moment, like because when I'm training my splits, like it can go into my back a little bit. Before that, I would have always told you. So for anyone listening, I would say minimum 2 times a week. That's kind of a minimum. But yeah, if you do kind of like any less than that, it's just not, your body's just not going to respond to it. And especially if you're trying to improve your flexibility. If you're trying to improve, I'd recommend 3 times a week. You know, I actually was doing, just before I injured myself, I was doing private classes with Athena Wolf. Do you know her?
Yes, I've seen.
Yeah, she's another really good trainer.
Insane.
Amazing. But she's actually really good because I like the style that she does is very much focused on strength and flexibility. So she's not just about like, oh, go into a split, put your foot on a block and just sit down into it. It's very much like squeezing your butt, like engaging muscles and stuff and using strength and flexibility. So I like her style, and 100% when my back's better, I'll be going back to her back bending stuff as well because she's a really good teacher. But yeah, it's just one of those things, like at the moment, I'm not doing very much just purely because of my injury. But before that, I try and stretch my back like once a week minimum, and then I'd kind of do my legs 2, maybe 3 times if I was having a good week, you know, just to like give them a good stretch out.
Well, that's good to know. And how long would your training, your sort of stretching sessions be? Like an hour?
You got to remember, like for me, it's different because I'm at a stage now where I just want to maintain. I just want to keep it as it is. So maybe it wouldn't even take that long, maybe 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Back bending maybe a little bit longer because when I'm back bending, I normally want to stretch my legs first. So I maybe would stretch my legs 20 minutes first, 30 minutes, and then I'd add the back on top. So that would maybe 40, 45, 50. But yeah.
And it's getting to that point where, like for me, when I first started split training, it would take me an hour to get into my splits. Then it would take me 40 minutes, then 20 minutes. And then it like gradually, like you say, you can then, once you've got your splits consistently, you can touch on that for a small period.
I find the big difference for me is how warm my legs are. If I've done a good warm up on my legs, I can. So this is why I'm saying once a week at the moment. So my once a week is after I've worked my legs at the gym. So if I've done legs at the gym, my legs just feel like they could split all day. Like they just feel so comfortable because they're so nice and warm. So that's the best time. If any of you listening go to the gym and you're doing a leg day, always stretch your legs after a leg day. Not only because what you're doing is only going to tighten them up anyway, but also because your legs are so warm, they're at the perfect point to stretch. You're at such a less risk of injury because your legs are already warm. Whereas when they're not warm enough, that's when the injuries start to happen. So definitely a good time to do it.
That's when I get my stretching in. Actually, my good stretching session is the one I'm in the gym once a week. And that day is the day that I will really focus. At the end of my session, will be focused on stretching. And like you say, you're exactly that. Like, I remember one day last year, it was so hot, and it was so hot in the gym, and I just split, and I got my middle splits, I got my front splits, and I was like, oh my God, who am I today? Like, I just am this bendy goddess. That was how I felt anyway. And then the next day rolled round, and I'm really sore, and that never happened again. But you have to be warm, don't you? You have to be really warm. So
it's super important.
Something that I just want to finish on then is around your lifestyle and your downtime, because you are so busy. Like, if you're teaching online and you've got your pole destroyers and the polos and everything that you've got going on, what does your downtime look like? How do you block that out?
What is that? What is downtime?
Well, exactly. It can be so overwhelming, can't it, with everything that's going on?
Well, do you know what? Like, on a serious answer now, downtime. So it used to be that I was away every weekend. So now my downtime tends to be sort of like every other weekend. I'll try and give myself a minimum of 1 day off. So I still teach pole destroyers on the weekend. But the thing is, this is the best part of online stuff, is that if I'm teaching for an hour, it truly is an hour. Because I literally just press start on Zoom and I press end on Zoom. I upload it to my website and I'm done.
And you're at home.
I'm at home, exactly. I don't have to drive to the studio. I don't have to drive back. So it's actually quite good in that sense. So at the moment, I just try to give myself a minimum, if I can, 1 day a week. I mean, obviously, it's normally filled with a bit of admin, but I don't. When I think of days off, I kind of class it as days off from exercise. So days off from physical activity. Which is bad, because really I should be giving myself like a full day off of admin and everything. But I think when you're self-employed, if you're self-employed, you'll understand, like, it's one of those things where you never stop working. Like, I'm always on social media, updating my videos and stuff, whatever. That's work. That is my job. That's kind of part of my job, as much as people don't like to understand what that means. But my job relies on me posting regularly, because if I don't post regularly, no one will notice my page, and if no one notices my page, I don't get any customers. So it's it's a 24/7 job. But physical activity, I always try and give myself 1 day off a week. And it's like today, for example, like, I'm going to go to the gym. I've only got one class. Actually, okay, that's a lie. No, I've got 2 classes today. But normally on a Monday, I don't teach 2. It's just randomly today I am. But so I'll try and have like a lazier day, so I'm not teaching as much. But then tomorrow I'm at the studio all day. So I'll be at the studio like from the early afternoon. It's a lot. It's just more a worry for my body, because I'm like, I need to make sure that I have that time to rest. And that's why it's super important that people do have rest days.
Do you block out any, like for me, Friday nights and Sunday tend to, like, that's my time with hubby. That's sort of quite treasured in for me. Do you have any time that you block out with Mitch where you're like, this is our time, like nothing, no work,
specifically? No. I mean, we have dinner together every evening. Like, so we have dinner together every evening, and we watch TV together every evening. So obviously not on a Tuesday and Thursday, because that's my studio days. But like tonight, once I finish teaching, I will upload the videos, and then I'm kind of done for the day. So then I'll normally sort of like just go and sit in the living room with him, and we'll just like watch TV together, and we'll put like, so tonight we will be sitting down together.
Love Island, I saw your post.
We will be all over Love Island. Yeah, Love Island will be our thing now. So we kind of watch programs together. That's kind of our quality time we have together. On the weekend, we'll probably go out for food together. We'll go out on like a little date night or whatever.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time together. And do you know what? Don't take this the wrong way. Like, I love him to bits, but we've just spent the last 6 months, like,
this is true. Yeah, of
living
course,
together, because he's not been working. So
yes,
I'm liking the break. Like, he's not here at the moment, so like, he's not here, he's at work. And I love him to bits, and we don't argue. We're not the type of couple that argues, but it's nice to have your own space, right?
Definitely. I think it's lovely that you make the time to have dinner together every night. That quality time is so
Do you not have dinner with your
underrated.
husband?
Yeah, every night. What I do,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I like Tuesdays and Thursdays are my late night as well at the studio. So that's he makes sure there's dinner on the table as soon as I get home, because again, you're so lit, you've got, if I get home at 9 o'clock, like by the time you're showered and you're running out of time, aren't you? So we sit down and eat together every night, and I think that time is so important.
Yeah, that's nice. So we won't have it every night, because I'm one of these people that I'll have my dinner, I'll sort of have it as like a to-go dinner. I'll like prep it at home and I'll take it with me to work, just because by the time I get back it's too late. Like I can't eat at 10, it's way too late.
It is hard.
So I just for me, only because I'm one of these people that I don't want to go to sleep with food in my stomach. It just is the worst feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's fair.
So I have to have a little while just to let it all go down. So I'll have it at work, and then I'll come home and I'll just have like a little snack or something when I'm here. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll eat together 100%. You've got to make that time.
You do, yeah.
But yeah, we always try and make sure we've got a little bit of time for each other, 100%.
It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it is really important.
Oh, well, Dan, thank you so much for joining me. Do you know what? We digress so much. Like, there's so much I wanted to talk to you about, and
I know we literally didn't cover hardly any of the subjects.
No,
we need to do like a revisit another time.
Absolutely. I'm really hoping that this is, again, I'm really hoping this provides value to a lot of people, because for me, and more so with like, even more when we were talking about mental health and stuff, it's really important to get out and move your body, and even if you get your steps in and just get out and move. And one thing that that really helped me get out and about is listening to podcasts. But I really wanted to find, again, I wanted to listen to like-minded people. So I'm really hoping this will help. You've got a really big audience, and I'm sure they'll love hearing about what you've got to say. Have you got any tips? Actually, that's what I want to say. What would be your tip for anybody starting
pole?
Yeah.
Where
do we even begin? Train both sides.
Train both sides. Like I know it sounds so stupid, but truly is. I regret not doing that, because
I think we all do.
Like now I'm so much better. Like pretty much most moves that I do, I can do on both sides.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some that you can't, but you should be able to do everything from beginner to intermediate level. You should be able to do it on both sides. And if you can't, you trust me when I tell you, your body is going to hate you in a few years, and it's going to start to get injuries, and you'll just really regret it. I also think that, again, just making sure that you schedule regular conditioning. I do recommend a great online program called the Pole Destroyers. It's really
yes, good. Shout that out.
But do you know, even like I always say to people, like, so even if people ever need to leave the Pole Destroyers, I say, listen, like, that's fine, like, but please don't stop, because if you stop, it will go. If you don't use it, you lose it. Like, so you've got a condition, and trust me, once you start to see those results, you'll be like, oh my God, I need to keep this up.
Yeah.
So schedule some time like to just do regular conditioning, and your body will thank you for it. That's my main thing. Yeah. Oh, and I have actually a really like top little tip that really helped me when I was starting to compete. If you get sweaty hands, buy this stuff called Dry Claw, which is spelled DRICLOR. Dry Claw is actually a product that you can buy it in boots. It's meant for your armpits. It's for people who sweat excessively from their armpits. You put it on overnight. Again, it's meant to be used during the day, but for pole dance, it's kind of like a bit of oily substance.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want it on for pole. But put it on at night. I literally smother my hands in it. I'll put it on my feet. Well, I used to anyway. I actually had to stop because it made them too dry. But like, you put it on your hands, put it on your feet. And I literally just leave it overnight, wash it off in the morning, and already, like on the first night, you'll notice that sort of light little bit of like tackiness on them when they've dried out a little bit.
Yeah.
Do it for a few nights, give it a break, do it again for another few nights until they're at a desired dryness. But just be careful you don't do it too often, because it will start to crack your calluses if you've got calluses already. But yeah, that one is a lifesaver. I've had so many people message me back and be like, oh my God, I started using Dry Claw, and that is amazing. More people need to know about it.
Yeah,
I post about it a lot. Right, exactly. And I post about it a lot because people ask me about it a lot. But obviously, people just don't see it. Like, because obviously you could have 90,000 followers on your page, and only 10,000 of them maybe see it. So it's just like, I'm always getting people to spread that word, because Dry Claw worked so good for me, and my hands were bad at one point, like sweaty AF. So now they're pretty good. Like I'm actually
passing
really
it
happy
on,
with it.
passing, like, because
Yeah.
now, you know,
Take
again,
the knowledge.
yes. And this is again why I think speaking to so many people, you know, just about what they do, how they train is so interesting, because people want to know. People are nosy. I am. I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know
100%.
everything. But yeah, I think we might have to do a 2.0 at some point.
Yeah, do a
'Cause there's
2.0. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, because
And
there's
next
so much.
next time I'll keep the answers short.
Oh no, we've it's been absolutely great. You know, this is what, you know, this is how I wanted it to feel, like a really natural chat, and it has. And yeah, it's been fantastic. You've been absolutely excellent. Thank you so much for joining me.
No
And I hope
worries.
you have a fantastic time at the gym.
Thanks. Have a good day, babe.
And you.